In this video, we will create a web browser which is going to look something like this with a back, forward, and some refresh capability. So let's start. Hello everybody and welcome back. This is Ali from Adistar-964. It's been a lot of time since I made a video, and in this video, as I promised, this video will teach you how to make a web browser in just 3 steps or just 3 lines of code. Alright? So for the first thing you need to do is you need to have an external module. So for installing it, you need to go ahead to your Windows terminal, or any terminal that you have in your computer. It can be either Mac terminal, it can be Linux terminal, like the bash terminal, or it can be just some CMD. All right, so just go ahead and open this one up. Yep, and zoom it in case you just can't see it right. And yep, so just make sure you have pip and python correctly installed. For checking that, just write pip and hit enter. It's gonna give you a list of commands, and if it gives you something like this, then you're good to go. So yep, let's just do it. So write pip space install space. We're gonna install the module named PyWebView. So yeah, you're gonna do is enter a word named PyWebView, and once you do it, you're gonna read the statement again, which is pip install PyWebView. So we're using pip to install a module called PyWebView, and so yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So for me, it says requirement already satisfied because I've already installed it. I mean, I've already added the module to my Python list. So for you, it can take some bit of time, like some sort of seconds, some sort of minutes. Okay, after you have done this, after this process is completed, what you can do is you can close up your terminal, you're good to go. And then you can open up your text editor, or IDE. It can be Python, it can be VS Code, or Sublime Text 3 or 4. It's up to you to choose whichever is good for you, alright? I'm gonna go ahead with VS Code. Alright, so just let's just not waste our time and go ahead. So the first thing is we have to import the module that we just installed, and it was by WebView, but Python's not going to recognize that anyway, because if you import it, you have to use another name, which is just WebView. All right. And by the way, after you can import it to according to 2 methods, which is you can use the from import statement, or you can use this import statement. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. After you import this, the next thing you're gonna do is um, you're gonna use that, right? So you have to do is you have to do window is equal to, you have to first create the window, right? Or let's just say we're gonna be doing web view dot dot create window, and then we're gonna give parentheses, which is our brackets, which is a function of web view. And then we're gonna be first mentioning the title. Let's say the title will be our simple browser, and then the next thing you have to give is where do you want this web view to be pointing at. So you have to point a URL here, so it will just open up the URL in the window or whatsoever. All right, so I'm just gonna say, let's say it's gonna open up google.com, so you just have to put google.com over here. So this is just gonna be like your Google address that you're gonna use. Alright, so you're just gonna open up google.com website, and after that you just have to do is webview.start. After you have created that window, you just have to start the web view with using another function of web view, which is webview.start. and make sure to put out those parentheses and put and just go ahead and run the code. You must see ish should be looking something like this. All right. And although you might be like, this is not a web browser, we don't have a going front and forward, a button, I mean, something like that. So it doesn't make sense to just put up web view somewhere like this and then say it's a web browser. Don't worry, as I promised, it's gonna be a web browser, a really simple web browser, not a complicated web browser like Chrome or Edge, but this is gonna be a really simple web browser. So let's just go ahead and create a back and forward button. So for creating those, um, you have to do is you have to, instead of just going ahead and putting up the URL, what happens is when you put up the URL, I mean, this actually does is it just puts the iframe into it. So if you're coming from HTML, or if you know some sort of HTML, iframe is a tag that is used to embed any other website. So yeah, they just embed the website in the web view or something like that. Okay, let's just not get into that complicated. So let's just remove that URL and just type in HTML is equal to. All right, and then I'll give you a code snippet in the description, so just go ahead and copy it and then paste it right here. Okay, and this should be this. All right, let's go. So yep, there we go, we have it. um Yep, that's all right. Just put this inverted commas to single inverted commas so that it looks a bit more clean. And you might be like, what's going on right here? So if I go ahead and talk about those things, um, it's just HTML going around, all right? So it's like we have two buttons, which is one button tag right here. We're putting some JavaScript. We're saying on click, just do is run this JavaScript function. This JavaScript function of history is just going back. So it just works similar to the back button in any other web browser. And then we have another button which is forward. We put the label as forward. Um, and then we say is when we click this, we just go forward in the history, and that's a function in JavaScript. So if you don't understand JavaScript and HTML, no problem, you just understand the HTML part. I mean, HTML is not that hard, but if you know HTML, then you can just go ahead through the video. And the next thing is we get iframe. This iframe, to make sure, you have to put this link inside, and this link is not just google.com, but it's slash search and then there's something over there. So why have I picking up this URL instead of just google.com? Because google.com does not allow you to embed its own website in any other website. So yeah, if you put this magic keyword over here, so it's just gonna work. All right, and I give width and height parameter to this, stating that it should be 100% and this should be 100%. All right, so yeah, when I give this 100%, what it does is it does not actually get it doesn't have borders. It does not like it's smaller than the window. It does not zoom out, it does not zoom in, something like that. Right, if you give this width 100%, height 100%, it will resize to its original parent or the window. All right, so whatever the size of the window is, this is gonna be that. So this is just what I just pasted right here, and but in this one single line. All right, so yeah, we have two buttons, which is labeled as back and forward, and then this button tags has some JavaScript, which is on click, and then on click we go history to back and history to forward, and then we have this iframe for embedding google.com inside it. Google.com, I've chosen that you can choose anything like Bing or anything like that, or yahoo.com. You just have to choose the appropriate magic URL. And by magic URL, I actually mean the URL that is allowed by the specific website. As for example, the google.com allows this sort of parameter to be added with it so that we can use it. Alright. So yeah, once you have done that, So all of those things make up a big sort of logic. So yeah, that must make up sense, alright? So we are, instead of putting up the URL, we're just putting extra HTML. We're saying HTML is equal to some two buttons and one iframe, and iframe is the google.com thing, alright? And then we're just starting up our window, alright? So just go ahead and save this and run this, and it should be alright. So yeah, as you can see, we got this. So it was just like before, but it got some borders right here. Just never mind, it's just something else, right? So you got back and forward button, as you can see right here, and it's just the same thing from before, except that you have the back and forward button, some sort of borders. This borders are created because of these buttons, but never mind, it's a complicated thing. Suppose I go ahead and write in some like import meaning, something like that, alright? And I suppose I have to go back. So I just have to click this button and I boom, I'm back. When I'm gonna click this forward button, boom, I'm forward. I mean, that makes a pretty lot of sense, alright? So the next button we're gonna need is the refresh button. Just copy this and just put this refresh button in between of those two buttons, and let's say this is refresh. So the refresh button does not use the history.back or any of those history objects function, but uses something called location object. And this location object of JavaScript allows us enables us to view and do some sort of things with the location that we're currently in. All right. So we do the current location. We go ahead and then we use a method called reload, and this method reload does it just reloads the page. Alright, so just go ahead and save this file and then run this right over here. I mean, I'm sorry, I did not you can't see it right over here because we have done that in another file, test.txt, but we have to add it right here over here. So let's just say I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it somewhere right here. It's just gonna be a lot complicated if you have this written one line, you know. So yeah, let's just go ahead and paste it, and boom, save this, run this, and you must see we got another button which is refresh. And when you click this, it's just gonna refresh. But for some reason you will see this is just going blank. So just never mind. There should be some reason as to why that happened, but I'll leave that up to you. You can just go ahead and mess this up. I mean, mess around with this. Not just mess this up. All right. So yeah, if you go ahead and mess around with that, you will get to know what all sort of HTML you can use with WebView, or you can say it as Pi WebView. So that's it, as I promised, 3 lines web browser. And yeah, I leave the rest up to you for customizing it. You can add more lines to this code to make it look more good. All right. So yeah, see ya. And thanks for watching my video, and subscribe, like, and share with others.